Podcast Network. The light shines brightest on our indie podcasts.
Warning. The following podcast may occasionally contain strong language and material that is not suitable for all ages. If you are easily offended, it is highly advised that you turn back now. However, if you're a degenerate, welcome, brethren. You've found your home.
Welcome to the Crime Diner. We are a Jersey podcast, and on the menu is a variety of true crime, cults, mysteries, historical hilarities, and sometimes victim stories. We do this within a Dinner with Friends theme. I'm Nydia.
I'm Dana.
I'm Cindy.
So last week, I told you a story about the ultimate invasion of privacy. It's the case of the Campbells versus Ezekiel Zayas, a man who had been frogging in their home. And if you don't know what frogging is because you missed it, go back and hear all about it.
That's
hear
right.
that episode and learn all about frogging. It's a new nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, it's an old nightmare for many of us, but...
I mean, yes, it was, oh my God.
Stop it.
Yeah,
Stop it. Why is that happening?
Yeah.
Don't do this.
Don't do that.
This week, I am going to tell you a mystery that has baffled true crime enthusiasts for almost 75 years.
75 years?
Yeah. And after I tell you about the Somerton man, I want to hear your theories and what you think happened.
The Somerton man.
Yes.
I'm intrigued.
You should be.
I've never heard this story.
I'm shocked, actually. This is a huge case. You may have heard it once you start to hear more details of it.
Yeah.
It's a big, like, what the fuck for Australia.
Okay.
And I think you're going to be into it. I want to hear your thoughts.
But first, the food. Let us pray. Bless us, O patrons, for these thy gifts which we are about to receive from thy donations through Patreon every month under the power of the podcast.
Cult.
Okay.
Nydia's like staring at it like, what the fuck is this? So these are beef and vegetable pasties.
Oh, you mean they're not nipple coverage?
No, they're not. Do they look like nipple coverage?
Well, pasties are what? Like dancers,
Not in
exotic
Australia.
dancers.
Not in Australia.
Or in a lot of UK, they use pasties. Remember Harry Potter? Pumpkin pasties?
Yeah, pumpkin pasties.
Yeah, so they're like little hand pies, sort of.
Oh, okay. And in this country, it's nipple coverage for an exotic dancer.
That's right. Sometimes it has little tassels on them.
Yeah.
Go round and round.
Right.
Well, they look delicious.
They do.
They're crispy golden brown.
They have some sort of glaze on them.
There it is. There's the egg wash.
Is there cheese inside?
No.
Okay, no cheese, no cheese.
What's in it?
Beef and vegetables.
Yeah. I've had tequila and it's pretty early. It's 5:00
Somewhere.
here. It actually is 5:00. All right, let's dig in.
Let's do it.
I need to sober up.
Yeah. What do you think about these pasties?
Oh my God.
We literally ate the whole tray of pasties.
They're so good.
They're so fucking good.
Oh my God.
It was only 8 of them on the tray.
I've had 3.
I had 3 also.
And they're big.
I had 2. I had 3. I guess I had 3.
Yeah, and they're big.
Yeah, they're pretty big. I did try to start with a small one, but didn't care.
You know, I was like trying to be like meek and petite, and I was like, oh, I'm on a diet. Let me just have a small one. And then I was
I don't know why you say that every week. The problem was they were so fucking hot because we never get really hot food here because Cindy cooks it at home and then brings it here. So she cooked it here because we did a live earlier.
Yeah.
And they were so fucking hot. I was like... as I was eating it. So I just kept biting it. And I'm like, it's so hot, but I can't stop eating it because it's so good.
Yeah.
Nydia took the first bite. She took one. She's like, I'm going to take the small one. Took the first bite and immediately reached out for the second one.
Burned tongue, be damned.
Be damned. We don't care about it.
We don't care.
Nope.
I have no feeling in my tongue now.
The crust was all flaky. It was so messy. There was like little bits of crust everywhere.
Oh.
So good.
So flaky.
Very flaky, very buttery. My fingers are all like buttered up.
So egg washy.
Egg washy, yeah.
And there was potatoes.
There was little chunks of potatoes in it, little pieces of corn.
I saw that. I was like, is this a corn or am I imagining it?
It is a corn.
It's a corn.
It's a corn. And maybe you'll find out later.
Yes. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, well, I won't digest this. But, yeah, those little cubed potatoes, they were... and the flavor. Oh, my God.
What is it flavored with? Like, just...
Spices.
Thanks for the specificity.
Worcestershire, beef bouillon, and then of course, the
rice.
garlic.
Yeah.
Please make
the
this.
onion. Yeah, a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Find the recipe in the show notes and make these, because were they difficult to make?
The worst part was getting the puff pastry to cooperate.
Yeah, puff pastry.
But other than that, it was actually fairly simple.
Oh, my God.
They're delicious.
Also,
yeah.
I'm drunk.
I mean, yeah, we know. Everyone knows. So we're drinking...
I don't care for your thoughts.
I'm so sorry. We're drinking this wine that Cindy got for us, that she went to the liquor store to get Australian wine and got South African wine because she can't do anything right.
Well,
how was those pasties again?
It's called Boxhead Swartland from South Africa.
I love this wine.
And the little guy has a cubed head on the label. It's a Shiraz, which of course you do love it because you do love a Shiraz.
I love a Shiraz.
I'll be honest with you, I could use an ice cube or two, but the taste is there.
I love
You're
this.
into glass too.
Am I?
And a shot of tequila. I watched you pour more.
I was going to say, I think I'm into glass too.
You're definitely into glass too. Possibly.
In my
three.
defense, I went straight to the area where it says Australian wine. I picked up the bottle. I saw A at the front, and I was like, good, I'm there.
Wait.
Well, A is the second letter. The second word. The first letter of the second word.
Well, I
There's a
thought it
whole
was-
other word in front of it.
Well, my thought immediately went to South Australia, and I was like, okay, good.
South, and I'm the one that's bad at geography.
yeah.
South Australia.
And also reading, apparently.
Well, I fully believe in the Mandela effect, because I swear it said South Australia.
In the car ride from the liquor store to here, it's switched over from...
Absolutely.
Okay, that makes sense.
Absolutely. I didn't see the change until I pulled it out of...
You were literally
when I got
taking
here,
a picture of it, yeah.
And I was taking a picture of it, and I was like, oh, that's not what I thought.
Well, the story's ruined. We're not telling it today. That's it. It's over. We'll have to make these again.
I quit the podcast.
Come back. That's right. It's over. We're done with it after this mistake.
I really love this wine.
I'm glad you like it.
I have the whole rest of the bottle.
Yes, you will.
And I guess you're getting a ride home tonight.
It might be.
Yeah.
Yes. It's looking that way. We went into a competitive streak this week, and we did Quizzo.
Yes.
We went out for Quizzo. Now, we don't get along. We don't get...
We do get along. Don't listen to her.
No. We don't get out often as friends because we started this podcast.
Right.
So we use it as our social /
Yeah, we really don't
time.
get to hang out much like friends like we used to.
Yes. So we went to Quizzo, and we went to a brewery. And I had a beer that was lavender and lemon. It tasted like bathwater.
It looked like bathwater.
And I finished the whole thing.
You loved it?
Didn't love it, but it was a $5 beer, and I drank it.
I had a blueberry wheat beer that I liked a lot.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. I also drank that.
Yeah, and we played as the crime diners.
Yeah, we did.
And some other people had some very funny fucking names.
Yeah, they did.
I can't remember any of them off the top of my head, but they were very good.
You've died of dysentery.
Oh, that was the best
That was the
one.
best one.
That was the best one.
It was a 90s themed Quizzo night.
Yeah.
And that was like the most 90s themed thing, honestly.
Oregon Trail.
Yeah, the Oregon Trail.
Absolutely. It was really fun. I'd never been to Quizzo. I know you guys used to go a lot a few years ago, but like before COVID.
We used to go like every Friday.
Yeah, I remember that. And it was really fun. I liked going. We came in tied for 10th out of 26 people.
Right.
Which
out
is
of 26 teams, tied for 10th.
about half, maybe. I guess. A little
We're
better
in
than
the
half.
50th percentile.
Yeah, that feels about right. I thought for 2 rounds we were doing really good.
Yeah.
And then they just gave us a whole free round of music and we fucked it all up because I don't think anybody actually like understood the question. And we were all just like yelling over each other. Nydia did suggest
Yeah.
a country artist, and we would not hear about it. Billy Ray Cyrus, and none of us would listen to her, and it was right.
Yeah.
And I was shocked.
Yeah.
But we never listen to Nydia, so what are you going to do?
You don't. And that's where you go wrong, not listening to me. You know what? I've been remodeling my kitchen, and I've been trying to
You have?
Yes, and I've been the whole summer. And I've been the whole shut up. And so I've been listening to Dateline,
how's
the
that
podcast.
going? Yeah.
Dude, never go near a cliff with your loved one.
Never, ever.
He's gonna push you off.
Never, ever.
He's gonna push you off.
Also, don't ever let them bring you a glass of wine.
I trust that. I trust that.
It has antifreeze in it. Obviously. Always has antifreeze.
Really?
Yes, bitch. Is your man a doctor? He's putting antifreeze in
If
your
your
fucking
man is
drink.
a doctor, he's gonna kill you at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should I mention succinylcholine again?
Wait, what's that?
It's the thing that doctors always kill you with because it has a half-life. By the time you get to the autopsy, they can't detect it.
I thought it was potassium.
I mean, that might be a good one too, but it's like a thing that they give you when you get surgery and it helps you go to sleep. Succinylcholine, but it has a half-life. I don't know. I've watched enough Forensic Files to know that keep that fucking succinylcholine away from me.
Girl, there's a pattern with Dateline.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah.
Oh my god. And it's they rotate through voices. They all all the men have the same wah, wah, wah voice, and all the women have the same.
I think my favorite of all of the voices is Dominic Dunn.
Dominic Dunn.
Yeah, he does City Confidential and
I don't think he does Dateline.
he might not do Dateline,
No.
but I'm just saying a forensic file voice that is good, you know? Mm-hmm. Besides Keith Morrison, which obviously
That's Dateline.
yeah, but Dominic Dunn just really has a lull you to sleep, just a nice warm hug, a little bit of a little weighted blanket. That's Dominic Dunn. He got that smooth, that silky voice, you know?
The thing is that we're lulled by death.
Yeah, I mean, it's not cute.
No, we gotta dissect
It's not
that.
cute.
We gotta look into that.
Yeah.
But I'm here painting my cabinets, and I'm like, bitch, that's where you went wrong.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, I should start taking notes. But yeah, let's.
But you do take notes. You have a whole
No.
true crime podcast.
No, shut up. Did you know you can sell your poop?
Yes, bitch. I sent this to Gage.
Stop.
Yes, bitch.
Why Gage?
Because you have to be in fecal position.
Fecal.
You have to be in peak physical condition. I looked up I'm trying to make some money, right? I looked up what do you need? You have to be an athlete.
Really?
Or, yeah, they don't want your poop. They want,
damn.
Yeah, I know, trust. I looked, bitch. As soon as, so we had a Christmas in July party a few weeks ago. And we were talking about all the ways that we can make money. Because I'm going to try to have this OnlyFans. And so somebody was telling us that we can sell our plasma locally and that we can make a lot of money. And I was like, oh, well, let's sell our plasma. I have plasma. You can have my plasma. You should have it. The next day, my sister sends me a TikTok about selling your poop. And she was like, here, if you want to make money selling your poop. So, of course, I was like, yes.
I make so much of it.
It just keeps happening. So I might as well sell it. So I look up all the qualifications, and you have to be in peak physical form, like an athlete or someone who whatever. So anyway, you fill out the form and then they send it back to you, and it's fucking hundreds of dollars. You can send a stool sample in every day, and it's hundreds of dollars a day.
It's
and I was
$800.
Yeah, I'm like, dummy, sell your poop. What are you doing?
Right.
Sell your poop. And they pay for shipping. So it's not even like you have to pay for shipping.
Do you have to prove that you're great physical shape?
Yeah,
I'll get in fucking great physical
you probably
shape
have to do
just to sell my poop.
You probably have to do a physical or something, yeah. But they want to study your poop, and you can send in one stool sample every day.
See, I would have thought this was. Is it C. diff that they use other people's poop to treat?
I don't know. I don't know what they're using it for. I don't give a shit. Take my
Crohn's
shit.
disease and things like that.
Take it. I don't care. What are you using it for? You want to take a bath in it? Do what you want with it.
Our
don't
dogs have been wondering where you're taking their poop for years.
Whatever you want to
this
do with it. I
bitch
don't
is
care.
really collecting
Test
my poop.
it. Give it to someone else. I don't care. What are you doing with it? Yeah, eat it. I don't care. Make a fucking cow pie with it.
I honestly like to lose weight. I want to shove a skinny bitch's poop up my ass.
Why?
So that I lose
don't
weight.
think that's gonna work.
It's scientists are like proving that
No.
that there's bacteria in your colon that helps you lose weight or gain weight or whatever. Yeah. That's what it's for.
I don't care about being skinny that much. That's the most craziest thing I've ever.
I've done a lot of things. I'll try anything except exercise. Exercise, cutting out alcohol, and eating well.
Perfect.
I'll do anything but those three things.
Perfect.
So yeah, you can sell your poop. You can make up to $180,000 a year.
Yeah. Yeah, because they said that you can do it every single day.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, what the fuck? Yes, I can imagine that. Absolutely. Let's do that. Do it. My kid is dumb. I'm like, sell your shit. Do your shit. Sell it. Do
Your
it.
kid?
Yeah, I keep sending it to him. I'm like, sell
Dude,
it.
he had like a fucking... he had like
Yeah, but he's like...
vomiting disease.
Yeah, but that was like 8 years ago.
Really?
The sport he does is particularly athletic. It's... You know what I mean? He probably would qualify to do it.
I should tell my kid to sell his
You should,
shit.
yeah, you should. He
already thinks he's the shit.
Exactly. Your drunk joke's not good.
No.
He's probably going to have to work this year. Like, he's going to have to figure out a way to make some money and work this year. Because, you know, that first year, like, he was getting his bearings or whatever. But, like, he's not one of these kids that his parents are paying for. I don't have it. Like, he wants to go to this special expensive school. Like, you're going to have to work. And he texted me yesterday. He goes, I got a job at a weed farm.
Oh, shit.
I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. I said, doing what? And he's like, picking and packaging weed. And I was like, cool. I guess that's good. Are they going to work with your schedule? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, dude. Have fun, I guess. But they're going to pay him $20 an hour, so fuck it. It's probably enough to, like, help him get there.
What a time to be alive.
Truly.
People would be incarcerated for doing the very thing that he's getting paid to do.
Yeah.
To pay for college.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Do it, dude. Have fun.
That's right.
Make some money. Pay for that school.
I don't know if you've been listening long enough, you know that I have no moral compass. None.
Yeah, what's that?
If it's legal and it's consenting.
If it's consenting, who gives a fuck about the law?
Fucking do it.
The law and what's right are two very different things. There are lots of laws that are not right.
Fucking do it.
Yeah, we don't care about the law.
No,
we don't care about that.
How about dessert? Let's do dessert.
Yeah, let's have dessert.
Are these pavlovas?
Yes.
Oh my god, they're beautiful.
They're stunning.
Isn't that a Russian
There
dessert?
better be more.
It is not a Russian dessert. It is a New Zealand, Australian dessert that was made in the honor of a Russian ballerina called by her last name was Pavlova.
Well, that's just beautiful and related to my story, actually.
So there you go.
Oh my god.
Oh, look how stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Will we pick this up with our hands or we need a fork?
I brought your plates because they will crumble.
That wasn't my question, but okay.
I want one with kiwis on it. That one's mine.
What'd you think about dessert?
Let me just tell you that I've had, how many? 2? 3?
You had
She had 3.
You had 3 because yeah, that's right.
Dude, did I have 3?
Yep.
Let me tell you something about Nydia. She doesn't do anything for herself. She won't get herself a drink. She won't get herself a napkin. She won't get up to go to the bathroom. The only thing she does do for herself is pours herself more wine and repeatedly does that over and over through the podcast. She won't take any of her own dishes to the sink. She doesn't do anything. This bitch got up, walked out to the kitchen, and made herself a third dessert. That's how good they were.
This is painting me in a bad light.
It's painting you in a true light.
That, Cindy made pavlovas, and I don't know, man.
Fantastic.
That shit is life-changing. If you could make those, I mean, everything that Cindy made today just was like, this is such a good idea to start a podcast.
Because literally every other time we're like, this was so bad. This is such a bad idea. Not
If
the
we
food, I'm
get
saying
3 listens,
the idea. Yeah.
I give 0 fucks because we are eating good.
Yes, bitch.
And drinking good.
You love this wine.
I love this wine. What was it again?
Boxhead?
Boxhead. It's a Shiraz.
Yeah. You're into it. Now,
South Africa.
I did get some ice. Cindy brought me ice. And it has greatly improved, in my opinion.
Some people need ice in their drinks.
Yeah, I'm a baby.
Yeah.
So what is a pavlova? Pavlova?
Pavlova.
What?
Sorry.
What is it? What is it?
A pavlova is a meringue shell. You sometimes usually made as a whole cake.
Right, that's how I've had it.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
It's usually a whole cake, and you do whipped cream and sometimes fruit or other things on top.
Yeah.
In this case, I found a recipe that made them into like little nests, kind of like a little mini pavlovas.
Like a little pocket.
Like a little pocket. And so I made those instead. That way I didn't make this massive thing that I had to, add whipped cream and it had to be eaten all at once.
Yeah.
This way I could make them little shells and then eat what
One
you
at
want.
a time.
Honestly, I think I've had pavlovas or I've attempted a pavlova before, and your way was definitely the
That
way.
was the best way I've ever had them,
Oh,
certainly.
my God.
I had it a long time ago, but in cake form. I never had it like in a little hand pie like that.
Was it as crunchy, like
On the
and
outside.
then like tender on the inside?
Yes,
Oh my God.
yes, it was. But it was like massive.
Right.
It was like
Right, big.
real big. I don't remember what kind of fruit and stuff we had on it, but that
Cindy
was
did strawberries and kiwi, and my tongue is still tingling over it.
There's just something about meringue that's like
It's just slightly sweet.
it's like a nice little toasty marshmallow
I know.
filled with whipped cream.
And then it's like soft in the center.
Yeah.
Oh, so fucking good.
So good.
Oh my God, so good.
I loved it.
I fucking...
She had
Yeah.
3. And folks, if you're not sure, Nydia's sugar is a little high. So
I'm pre-diabetic.
can't imagine why.
And I had 3 pavlovas. If you're my doctor and you're listening to this, cover your ears.
How many meat and veggie pasties did you have?
Also 3?
You're doing so good today.
I'm not proud. Also, I had 3 glasses of wine and 1 shot of tequila.
Yes, and she's hounding everybody else. Are you finishing your wine? Because I would like to have some more.
I probably shouldn't have some.
You're not
more.
having any more.
I really shouldn't.
She is full on flagged.
This whole ass meal has been a fucking treat. And I
Good.
look forward to your story.
All right, well, it's
Is that a treat?
Yeah, it's less fun.
Aww.
But it's interesting, and I want to hear what your thoughts are.
Okay.
Hey, this is Ken M.
Padawan J.
Coach Duffy from the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour podcast. Every week, the ODPH is talking sports, movies, TV, comics, and more. It's always a parlay of topics on each episode. You can find the ODPH on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, and wherever you find great podcasts, such as the one you're listening to right now. Don't forget to check out OchoDuroParlayHour.com, where you can find the links to all of the ODPH social media accounts, links to the bands whose music you hear each week on the show, hashtag 607 podcast info, and parlay points, our companion blog section of the show. Thanks for listening to the ODPH. Now get back to your regularly scheduled podcast.
This week, I got my story from Wikipedia, CNN.com, SmithsonianMag.com, Phys.org.
Fizz.
Yeah, like I think it's like a doctor magazine, like physician.
Oh,
Maybe.
okay. I thought it was like Fizz. F-I.
No. PHYS.org.
Got it.
ABC.net, and Find a Grave.
Okay.
A big section of what I'm telling you is from Wikipedia, just because it was set up really, like,
Chronologically?
yeah, so like real easy to follow.
Right.
There are some, like, Datelines 2020s about this, but they're they're Australian versions of it.
There's Australian versions of Dateline?
I mean, they're not like Dateline, but it's their, like, version of,
Okay.
like, crime stuff that
Oh my
you can
God.
watch.
I love crime stuff.
Yeah, I know you do. So I can link those too if you want.
Okay.
So, early morning, December 1st, 1948, the body of a man was discovered on Somerton Park Beach, about 7 miles southwest of Adelaide, South Australia. Not South Africa, like where the wine was from, but South Australia.
Right. Cindy did mess that up.
Yeah.
It was a Mandela effect. Stop messing with me.
So the man was found lying in the sand. He was lying with his back and, like, head the upper part of his body,
Right.
resting against the seawall, and his legs were extended out in front of him and his feet were crossed. He had an unlit cigarette on the right collar of his coat, just like either it dropped or it was just sitting there.
Okay.
In his pocket was an unused second-class rail ticket from Adelaide to Henley Beach, a bus ticket from the city that they were unsure if it was used or not, a narrow aluminum comb that had been manufactured in the United States, a half-empty pack of juicy fruit chewing gum, Army Club cigarette pack, but it did not contain Army Club cigarettes. It contained a different brand of canistas, which was about quarter full, halfway filled than the pack. He had a more expensive box.
Right.
I'm sorry, a more expensive cigarette inside a cheaper pack of cigarettes.
I'm sorry, that's not how that works.
Yeah. And he had a quarter full pack of Bryant and May matches. So to light his cigarettes. After the body was found by 2 apprentice jockeys that had been on the beach in the morning with their horses, witnesses came forward that they had said they had seen a man that resembled the Somerton man the night before, so November 30th. A couple said that they had seen the man around 7 p.m. and they thought he had raised his arm and let it drop to his side.
What do you mean?
That he was laying on the beach, they saw somebody raise their hand, maybe to signal towards him, and then drop it down. Another couple had come forward saying that they had seen a man between 7:30 and 8 p.m. The streetlights had just come on, and they recalled that they had not seen him move at all during the time that he was in their view, but maybe he had switched positions, but they hadn't noticed it, but they just couldn't be sure.
Okay.
The couples both thought that maybe he was drunk or sleeping, and neither had investigated any further than just noticing his appearance. Upon examination, the man was said to be in top physical condition. He was 5'11", with gray eyes, fair to ginger hair. He was slightly graying at the temples. He had broad shoulders and a narrow waist, and his hands and nails showed no signs of manual labor. His big and little toes met in a wedge that looked like a dancer or someone who wore pointed boots or shoes.
Okay.
His toes,
right,
sort of,
yeah.
And he had pronounced high calf muscles that consisted with people who regularly wore boots or tall shoes or performed ballet.
Really?
Yeah, he had these very, defined calf muscles. Yeah.
Got it.
He was dressed in a white shirt, a red, white, and blue tie, brown trousers, socks and shoes, which had been highly polished, a brown knitted pullover, and a fashionable gray and brown double-breasted jacket.
Okay.
With quote-unquote American tailoring. I don't know what that means, but it must be different than the way they do it over there. So the first strange thing that we encounter that all of the labels from his clothes are torn out.
What the fuck? I did a story just like that.
I know you did.
In Ireland.
Yeah. This story reminds me a lot of that.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. He had not been wearing a hat, which was pretty strange for the time, considering that he was really clean-shaven and well-dressed. So his outfit would normally have a hat with it.
Okay. This was during hat years.
Yeah, in the 40s.
Right.
Police initially believed that he died by suicide. The autopsy estimated that he died around 2 a.m. on December 1st. Which, if you didn't know, that's actually their first day of summer there, because they're the opposite world.
What day is it?
December 1st.
What?
Yeah. Because
Interesting.
the sun is on the other side,
That is true.
I guess.
Yeah, but we're usually on the 21st of...
Well, I'm not saying it's the equinox, but I'm just saying
Right.
that's when they start to consider it's hot there. It's summertime.
So they don't have an equinox of 21?
I mean, they might follow that. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what I heard.
Got it.
I could be really wrong.
Got it.
His liver contained excess blood, and the spleen was about 3 times larger than normal size. This made pathologists think that maybe this was a poisoning. There was blood mixed with his last meal, which was a meat and vegetable pasty.
Oh my God, what we had.
Which he had eaten maybe 3 to 4 hours before.
This could very well be my last meal.
I could see that.
I'd be very happy with that. I'd be fine.
I could see that, yeah. When I suggested that she make meat and vegetable pasties, I certainly didn't think you were going to love them so much.
Well, I mean, if they were full of blood like his were.
Yeah, that would be worse.
I mean, his stomach was full of blood.
Yeah. After further testing, they had failed to find any foreign substance in his body, and the pathologist, Dr. Dwyer, concluded, I am quite convinced that the death could not have been natural. The poison I suggested was a barbiturate or a soluble hypnotic. Although the poisoning remained a prime suspicion, the pasty was believed not to be the source of the poison.
Yeah, if you had a poison inside these pasties, I would have had poison 3 times already.
Yeah, you'd be in real trouble.
I'd be in real trouble. I'm probably in real trouble.
You might be in real trouble.
Later tonight.
I have something to tell you.
What?
It's about the pasties.
What about it? I'm so drunk.
Other than assumptions, police or medical examiners could not conclude the identification of the man or a cause of his death. Since no one came forward to identify the man, they decided to embalm him on December 10th. January 14th, 1949, the staff at Adelaide Railway Station discovered a brown suitcase with its label removed. It had been checked in at the cloakroom at 11 a.m. on November 30th, the day before his body was found.
Okay.
In the suitcase was a red checked dressing gown, like a nightgown.
Okay.
Size 7 red felt pair of slippers, 4 pairs of underpants, pajamas, shaving items, a light brown pair of trousers with sand in the cuffs, an electrician screwdriver, a table knife cut down to like a short, sharp instrument, like a little...
A shank?
Like a little shank, maybe? A pair of scissors with sharpened points, a small square of zinc, that...
Yeah, the stuff that you put on your face.
Yeah. It may have been used as a protection for the knife, though. Like, you might have stuck the knife in there.
Oh.
Or the scissors,
Yeah.
And a stenciling brush that was used to, like, stencil, like, merchant ships or cargo. Like, little, like, paintbrush.
Okay.
Also in the suitcase was a thread of orange and brown wax. And this was, like, an unusual type of thread, not available in Australia. It was the same brand that was used to repair a lining of the pocket in the Somerton man's clothes, which, when they said it was, like, this American tailoring or whatever, this same thread was in the suitcase. So they connected the man by this thread. Okay. So that's how they figured out that the suitcase must have belonged to that man.
Okay.
Also the bus ticket, like, he was there, obviously.
Right.
All the identifying marks in the clothes in the suitcase had been removed also, except for there was a tag that said T. Keane, Keane.
Okay.
On a laundry bag. There was one bag on a singlet, like, those, like, one-piece bathing suit type things, that said Kean without the E. And then, like, these 3 dry cleaning marks, which they had tested all over the country. They couldn't figure out where they were from. But everything else was removed. Like, all of the tags were removed. Right. So, did whoever removed the tag from the clothing either overlook these items, or did they purposefully leave the Keane tag to, like, throw them off, or as a clue, like, is this the dead man's name? Like, what's the deal here? With wartime rationing still enforced, it was common that people would buy clothes from other people, or, like, sort of a goodwill situation. Right. And if that was the case, and they bought clothes from someone else, they would, obviously, they tear the name tag out because... Yeah, it wasn't their clothes anymore, right?
Were the tags of olden, of yesteryear, the name tags of the people that owned the garment?
I think so. Creator? I think, like, it would be like they would have a tag in there, and you would, like, stitch your own name in it, so that you would, like...
Right, because it was, like, custom made for you.
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Police found it unusual that there were no spare socks in the suitcase, and no, like, correspondence, no letters, no nothing, like, identifying. They also found pencils and unused stationery. Police found that there was no T. Kane missing in any English-speaking country. They checked.
What's T. Kane?
That was the name of the clothes.
The name, yeah.
And a nationwide search for the laundry marks turned up nothing, like I said. The only thing remarkable from the suitcase was there was a jacket in there that had been determined that it was from the United States. It had appeared not to be imported, suggesting that either the owner had been to the United States, had been from the United States, or they bought it from someone who was from the United States. But, like, the jacket wasn't shipped there, bought in Australia. Like, it definitely was a foreign jacket.
So the jacket itself was from the United States? Uh-huh. Okay.
Police checked incoming train records and believed that the man had arrived at the Adelaide railway station overnight from either Melbourne, Sydney, or Port Augusta, which is, like,
anywhere.
That could be anything.
He could have been,
right.
Anywhere.
They speculated that he had showered and shaved at one of the bath stations because he was clean shaven the next morning when they found his body. So, like, he would have had to shave.
He was clean and clean shaven.
Right, exactly. But there was no, like, bath ticket, which I guess you must have had to, like, purchase a bath or something.
Could you imagine?
I mean.
A bathhouse
I mean, like, at the rail station or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? But he had purchased a ticket for the 10:50 a.m. train to Henley, and he never used it. It was still in his pocket. Like, that we do know.
Okay.
He immediately checked his suitcase at the station before leaving, and then either caught a cab or caught a bus to Somerton Beach, where he was found the next morning.
Right.
An inquest was concluded by a coroner named Thomas Cleland, and he figured out some interesting discoveries upon examining the body.
Okay.
The Somerton man's shoes were remarkably clean. Very clean. Like they had just been polished. Not like he walked around the town all day or that he would have been walking on the beach.
Okay.
Which his body was found on the beach. So
maybe it was like a short distance from where he parked or first entered the beach.
Maybe.
Okay.
But, well, remember he was on the bus or on a train. Like, he didn't have a car, as far as they know.
Okay.
And also, maybe he was placed there. And he never walked in the sand.
That's true. Okay.
This coupled with the fact that there was no evidence of vomiting or convulsions, which are two of the main reactions to poisoning, led police to believe that his body might have just been placed there as disposal.
Okay, because they thought that because he had an enlarged spleen that he had been poisoned. Mm-hmm. So they thought that he was placed there. Okay.
But let's not forget, people did say that they had seen him the night before and that he had, like, raised his arm. So
sitting in that same spot?
They believe so, yeah.
Okay.
But, point counterpoint, no one could identify him, like conclusively identify him. Yes, they thought they saw a man that looked like him in that same spot, but, like, nobody actually went over to him, so it's not like they could be like, yes, that was definitely him, but it would stand to reason that a man dressed in a suit laying there in that same spot, a man was found dressed in a suit the next morning, was probably the same guy, but we just can't say that for certain.
Why wouldn't you help?
I think they just thought he was like a drunk dude.
Oh, yeah, but still.
I mean, yeah, I usually do check. Like, if I think someone's like, you know.
I don't know.
A professor of physiology and pharmacology at the University of Adelaide, Cedric Hicks, came forward to say that there were two drugs that could be easily procured and extremely difficult, if not impossible, to identify that the man had been killed by. He wrote these two drugs on a piece of paper and he gave it to, I don't know, the judge or to whomever, to the police or whatever. But he didn't want to, like, say what they were in public because you could get them.
What
like,
were
over
they?
The counter. They were not released until the 1980s.
Okay, so tell me what they were.
These drugs were identified later as digitalis and obutane. They're both...
Hold on, let me write those names down. I'm just kidding.
They're both cardianoloid type cardiac glycosides.
You're a good reader.
That's probably really wrong, but that's what I got here.
Okay.
Hicks stated that if the death had occurred 7 hours after the man was last seen the night before, like moving his arm, it would imply that a massive dose had still been given to him and would still be undetectable. And it was noted that, like, his arm moving at 7 p.m. could have been, like, him convulsing. And that, you know, he was just moving around. Yes. After the inquest was complete, they had a taxidermist come in and make a plaster cast of the man's, like, head and shoulders.
Oh, shit. I thought they were going to stuff him.
No. Because 6 months later, on June 14th, 1949, they could no longer keep his body.
Right.
And he was buried at West Terrace Cemetery.
So they made a cast of his face to, like, do, like, a profile?
Yes. Just in case anybody ever came forward, like, this is what he looked like. I mean, they took pictures of him too. You know, you'll see pictures of him.
Okay.
The service was arranged with some secrecy so that curious onlookers don't just, like, show up.
The looky-loos.
Yeah. A few days after the service, a mason provided a proper headstone for the grave, which was inscribed with the words, "Here lies the unknown man found at Somerton Beach, December 1st, 1948. Okay, so during the initial search of his body, of his belongings, and the suitcase, they believed that they had found all relevant clues.
Okay.
Here's where things get a little tricky. A tiny piece of paper was rolled up with the words Tam and Shoed printed on it. And it was found, like, in a tiny little pocket, like, stuffed in this tiny little, like, bit on his clothes. Okay? Tam and Shoed is a Persian phrase that means ended or finished. Okay? They realized that this had been torn out of the page of a book, an old book, called The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. This is a work written in the 12th century, and it had become popular in Australia during World War II.
Okay.
It had been translated by Edward Fitzgerald, and it was a book of love poems, and people would give it to each other when one went off to war. Like, women would give it to men who were going off to fight more, and vice versa, whatever.
Okay.
A photograph of the piece of paper was released to the press. 8 months after the body had been found, a man showed up to the police station with a 1941 edition of the book where the last bit of paper was torn out.
Okay.
He had a strange story of how he came into possession of this book.
Okay.
He said in December, so a few months before, he and his brother-in-law were at Somerton Beach hanging out.
Okay.
And they found the book on the backseat of their car, and each man had just assumed that the book was the other's. Okay. They didn't know where the book came from. They just assumed. So they picked up the book, put it in the glove compartment. So
this wasn't a rental car. This was their car.
This was like their car that, like, it was summertime. Maybe their windows were down.
Okay.
Maybe someone threw it in the back seat.
I don't know about you, but I don't go throwing around books into people's backseats.
So when they learned news that police were looking for this book, they checked their copy and went, holy shit.
This is the copy.
This is the copy. It's missing the bottom bit of this last piece.
Interesting.
So they take it to police. Detective Sergeant Lionel Lane, who led the initial investigation at the time, was a real cool dude. And since the guy who brought the book in didn't want to be part of the investigation, he just left his name out of the report. No need. We don't need that. So no one was ever able to go back and question him or figure out who or why or where he came from.
That's a mistake, I feel.
Yeah. The theme of the book is that one should live their life to the fullest with no regrets when it ends. The poem's subjects led police to theorize that maybe this person died by suicide, although there were no other evidence to that. Like, like, how did he die? You know? But the book is like, all of these poems are like very like, live your life, and when it ends, like, it's fine, and all of that kind of nonsense. So now they have the book, right? They figure out pretty quickly that this tiny piece of paper that was torn from the book, it fits perfectly with the book that these men turn in. They do microscope examinations and shit, and it fits. It's from that book.
Shit.
So they take the book and they do tests on it.
Okay.
There's a phone number written in the back of the book. So they call the number. There's also a little code in the back of the book, which is initially thought to be words in another language. It was 5 lines of text in capital letters, with the second line being struck out. Code experts and amateurs were called in to try to decipher all the lines, but all attempts were unsuccessful. It was ultimately concluded that it's impossible to provide a satisfactory answer because the encrypted message was either too brief and had too insufficient symbols to figure out what it was.
Okay.
The text could be meaningless or a product of a very disturbed mind. But let's talk about the phone number.
Okay.
The phone number in the back of the book, it ended up belonging to a nurse named Jessica Ellen Thompson.
A nurse where?
In Adelaide.
Okay, but in what kind of hospital?
I don't know. It's just a regular, she's a nurse, a regular old nurse.
Oh, in a
hospital,
nurse.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Not a mental hospital.
No, a medical doctor, yeah, a medical nurse. She lived 1,300 feet from where his body was found.
Okay.
When interviewed by police, she said she didn't know the man. She didn't know why he would have her number in the back of a book. Okay. She didn't know why he would be in her neighborhood the night of his death. Never heard of him. In 1949, she asked police to keep her name out of records because she didn't want to be connected with such a case because it could harm her reputation. And police agreed. They referred to her as Justin.
Cindy is
Yeah. They referred to her as Justin, and this would ultimately hinder future investigations.
I'm sorry, Justin?
Justin. Jestyn.
Justin.
Right.
Okay.
When she was shown the plaster cast of his face, she said she had no idea who he was, but witnesses there the day that she saw his cast said she had a visceral reaction to the point that someone stood behind her because they thought she was going to faint.
Okay.
Thompson said that while she was working at the Royal North Shore Hospital in Sydney during World War II, she had owned a copy of that book. But in 1945, at the Clifton Hotel in Sydney, she had given it to an Australian lieutenant by the name of Alf Boxall.
Okay.
Thompson told police that after the war, she had moved to Melbourne, she'd gotten married, and she didn't know where Alf Boxall was. She had received a letter from Boxall, and she replied telling him that she was married now, and sorry about it.
Like, sorry about it.
Sorry about it. Subsequent research suggested that her future husband, Prosper Thomas, was in the process of obtaining a divorce in 1949, and that he didn't actually marry Jessica until the mid-1950s. And that's important. We'll talk about that in a minute. So basically, when Boxall would have emailed her. When Boxall would have reached out to her, she said that she was married, but she wasn't technically married yet.
She was having an affair with a married man.
Yes, probably.
Okay.
Possibly.
No, she was.
So there's no evidence that Boxall had any contact with Jessica Thompson after 1945.
Okay. After
their conversations, police suspected that Boxall was probably the dead man, right?
Right.
So they search for him. They look high and low for this guy. In July 1949, Boxall was found in Sydney, and the final page of his copy of the book was still intact, with the words "Tam and Sjoerd" still in place at the end of the book.
So it wasn't the man.
It wasn't the man. And what are the fucking odds that this guy dies with the same book,
right,
with her number written in the back of it?
Dude, that's weird.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Unless she was giving it up to these guys.
To everyone.
Just passing out a copy of each book to each guy that she fucked.
And this book, a lot of people were passing this book around. It seemed like a thing that was happening. But girl, you got the same shtick for every dude? Come on.
Bitch.
A witness came forward in 1959 and reported to police that he and 3 others had seen a well-dressed man carrying another man over his shoulders the night that the man in Somerton Beach was...
Okay.
The Somerton man was found, suggesting that someone placed his body there. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, poof, the case is cold. Are you coming up with... What are you thinking?
I don't know. What are you thinking?
Well, I know the answer. So
you know the answer.
I don't know the answer, but I can't tell you.
I think that this man completed suicide.
Okay.
Because I did a story similar to that. And similar in so many damn ways.
Yes.
In almost all the ways, really. And I just feel like he was a man that didn't want to be found, and which is why he cut out all the tags and his clothes and everything. So I don't know. I'm thinking he was because of the little clipping that might have been his suicide note or whatever.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Or CIA or alien. Those, in that order.
CIA or alien. You don't think Jessica's involved?
I think Jessica may have very well been involved. I think that's why he completed suicide, honestly.
Okay. So following the Somerton man's burial, it was noticed that an unknown woman was regularly placing flowers in 2 jars at the grave. This woman was never identified.
Wait, at his grave?
Yeah.
Where was his grave?
It was at some cemetery.
Okay, so they didn't do a little memorial.
They did actually. They did not at the beach, no.
Okay.
But this was at his actual grave.
Okay, got it.
So let's discuss theories.
All right.
Was he a spy?
I mean,
many people believe that he was a spy, and this is not a bad theory.
Well, his similarities to my Irish story are just too uncanny.
It's the end of World War II.
Yes.
It's the very beginning of the Cold War, and people were just fucking doing spy shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're still doing spy shit.
Yeah, man. At least 2 sites relatively close to Adelaide were of interest to spies. The Radium Hill uranium mine and Woomera test range. The man's death also coincided with the reorganization of Australia's security agencies, which culminated the following year funding the Australian Security Intelligence Organization, which I think means Australia's CIA. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Or something.
So they were funding it and restructuring.
They reorganized it.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a crackdown right around this time of Soviet espionage. So, of course, people thought he could have been a spy with all the mystery around his identity, the random objects that he had, the lack of labels in his clothing, the inability to determine his cause of death. Spy shit sounds right. Another spy theory is surrounding Boxall. Boxall was reportedly involved in intelligence work during and immediately after World War II.
Wait, who was Boxall again?
Boxall was the guy that had the other copy of the book.
Oh, that's right.
And he brings us back to Jessica Thompson. There's so much speculation around Jessica and her family.
She was a nurse, right?
She was a nurse.
Okay.
So she would have access to these drugs. Easy access.
Yeah, that's true.
Theories consist of everything that Jessica was a spy, or that the Somerton man was the father of her first child.
Wait a minute. She
No.
didn't have a father named?
Well, she does, her husband.
Okay.
But this is the theory people really latch onto. Okay. Jessica announced that she was pregnant in 1946. The man who would become her husband, Prosper Thomas, left his wife weeks later, after the announcement, and they both moved to Adelaide as husband and wife.
Okay.
But we know that he doesn't actually get married to her until the mid-50s because A, was he still in the process of getting divorced, like he couldn't marry two people at the same time?
Okay.
Or was he not really the father of her child? Maybe the Somerton man showed up looking for his girl and his baby.
Right.
And Jessica and Prosper killed him. And Prosper was the one carrying him on the beach that night. Or maybe Jessica was a spy and something went wrong and
she poisoned him.
She poisoned him, or Jessica's daughter comes forward later saying that she has 3 kids with Prosper Thompson. One of them, Kate, comes forward later saying that her mom spoke Russian and that her mom taught people English and whatever. But I don't know how
she was a spy.
I mean, the kid says so.
Okay.
I don't know how true that is or not. But
well, why would she make up a rumor about her mom?
well, all of this is around her, around Jessica. And Jessica, we didn't know who Jessica was for many years.
Okay.
The reason they even found her was because two reasons. And I'm going to talk about them later, but I don't really actually go into it. But there's a retired detective that just sort of gets his hooks into the story, for whatever.
Australian detective?
Yeah, he just is interested in the story.
Yeah.
He takes the number, this motherfucker. He takes the phone number, and he gets a phone book. Okay. Literally every night for a couple hours at a time, goes through the phone book looking for this number. Because he doesn't have the name because they left her name out of the report.
Okay.
And he fucking finds her. After years of going through phone books trying to find her. Which to me is totally crazy.
Yeah, why didn't he just go to the
They didn't have
company?
her name. They didn't have her name.
Yeah, but can't you
Then I thought of that later. I was why didn't they just go to the phone company and be like, can I have the number to whoever this number is?
Yeah, the name
But he
to
didn't.
whoever
Yeah,
this
he
number
didn't. He
belongs?
went through the phone book, which could you imagine that tiny little...
oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't know what phone books are like in Australia, but
If they're anything, they're 1,000 pages.
yeah, they're so thick.
And they're tiny.
the tiniest print with a million numbers on it and a million names.
Yeah.
Yeah, he finds her. And she asks him also to leave her name out of whatever, and he does.
Out of the report.
Yeah, well, he's not really making a report because he's a retired cop,
Okay.
a retired detective. The other guy who we're going to talk about is Professor Derek Abbott, and he finds her also, but through other means. But we're going to get into that. So anyway, there's all these theories about her and about the fact that maybe the Somerton man is the father of her oldest son, Robin. So for one thing, Robin grows up to perform with the Australian Ballet School, and he's boasted to have a long, lean stature that made him perfect for dance. So he had these
Okay, so Jessica and her husband weren't like that? Mm-mm. But the Somerton man was? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. He had the toes.
You got it. And the calves, the real...
shit, yeah.
the calves. Let me tell you about Professor Derek Abbott. He's obsessed with the case, right? He becomes just a true crime guy, right?
Yeah. He has a podcast.
Yeah, he probably does. Actually, I heard him on a podcast because he comes up...
I was kidding.
No,
He's
I heard
alive?
him. Yeah, yes. So now we're into the 90s, the 80s or 90s. This is years and years later.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
This is the case goes cold for 60 years or something, you know? What did I say? It was 75, almost 75 years now.
Holy shit.
The case goes cold.
Right. Yeah,
so
you did say that.
A ton of years later, it's the 80s, the 90s, whatever. Professor Derek Abbott, hears about this case, and it comes back every couple of decades, whatever.
Right.
It'll be in the news or how
resurfaces.
Yeah, sure. So he hears about this case. He hears about the case because of the code, the code that people were trying to crack.
What was the code?
They never were able to crack it. It was
the
written.
code?
It was written in the back of the book with her phone number. It was this
Okay.
weird little code that they tried
Got
to decode. They were never able to crack it. So he takes the code. He takes it to his students and he says, if you guys can crack this, I'll give you extra credit or whatever. And of course, they can't crack it. But he becomes obsessed with this case because of it.
Could you imagine if you did
Could
some
you
good little
imagine?
hunting type of math?
Could you imagine? I mean,
Right.
so he becomes obsessed with the case. And Upon learning about Jessica and hearing about her son and the ballet dancer and the interest, he's like, wait a second. He figures out who Jessica is. He figures out about Robin and that he was a ballet dancer, and he makes the
Robin is the son,
right? And he makes the connection that he's a ballet dancer. We think maybe that like ballet must have just like pinged for him so hard, you know,
right?
Because it's just such an odd
thing. The connection,
yeah. So once he finally figures out who Jessica is, and he reaches out to the family to try to get in touch with them, Jessica and Robin have already passed away.
What?
So he's like, "Fuck!" Like.
Because this is many years later.
Yeah, this is like the 90s or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
The late 90s, almost the 2000s. You know what? I'm sorry. This is many years later. It might even be the 2000s. I don't know exactly when he like gets interested in it. But he realizes about Robin and the Somerton man that they have some very distinct characteristics. Both the Somerton man and Robin had been born without lateral incisors, resulting in their canine teeth being directly next to their top central teeth. So what that means is these teeth are here. The front two teeth are there.
Incisors.
The very front two pointy big teeth.
Yeah.
These second and fourth, the third and fourth teeth, they're both gone. So that means these pointy teeth right here.
The canines.
They're right next to the big teeth.
Ew.
So when you see a picture, you can see that it's noticeable that it is so rare that both of them should have that abnormality.
That's weird.
Secondly, they both have very strange earlobes, okay? The Somerton man had unusual earlobes. The lower part of the ear, the lobe part, is connected. So, like, see how mine's like...
Mine's connected.
No, yours is not like that. Let me see yours.
Disconnected.
Okay. So, you see how you have this, like, little... It's disconnected.
Okay.
Where sometimes they're like connected, right? They're like this.
Okay.
There's his ear. See his ear?
Okay.
Okay. So that's part of it, which is common. This is not uncommon. Okay. But his upper ear hollow, called the cymba, C-Y-M-B-A, that's this part right here, is larger than the lower ear hollow, the cavum. This feature occurs in only 1% of the population.
Wait. Say again?
So this part right here, this part?
That part.
Is larger than this part.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm going to share pictures of it. I'll show you. See how big the top of it is?
Yeah.
So this feature only occurs in 1% of the population.
Okay.
Guess who has similar earlobes?
The fucking kid.
Yeah. So there are the teeth right there. That's his teeth.
Oh, okay.
You see?
Yeah.
How it's like...
Yeah.
So Professor Abbott is like... That's his kid.
That's his kid.
That's his kid, 100%. They both had already died, like I said, and there were no other children. Robin didn't have any children, so, like, dead end. Okay. Right? What are we going to do? But Robin did have a kid.
Okay.
Robin was in the Australian Ballet, and while he was there, he and another ballerina had gotten pregnant.
Oh.
They created an adoption plan for their child. So the child grew up adopted in New Zealand.
Okay.
Okay. This brings us to Rachel Egan.
That's the baby?
Yes.
Okay.
Rachel grew up in New Zealand with no siblings, and she admitted she'd always felt a sense of disconnection with her family. She did not know she was adopted. From a very young age, she threw herself into ballet. She had she was
also a ballerina.
Yes, she found a solace
destiny
in ballet, and nobody in her family was into ballet. She just loved it.
Oh wow.
When she arrived at university, Rachel received a letter from a social worker telling her that she had been adopted. She made contact with her birth mother, Roma, and this is where she found out that both of her parents were ballerinas and that Robin had already passed away.
Wow.
She began a beautiful relationship with her birth mother. When Professor Abbott reached out to talk to her about potentially being the Somerton man's granddaughter, she was skeptical but intrigued. They went out to dinner and they talked over the details of the case, and she agreed not only to help in any way that she could via DNA or whatever, if that...
But her mom at that point was already dead.
Her mom was still alive.
Oh, okay.
But she wasn't related to... She just had a baby with him.
Okay.
She agreed to help via DNA or whatever possibility that would come up. And not only did she become very helpful, but she became Professor Abbott's wife. They fell in love.
Oh my god, so cute.
Yeah.
That's such a meet cute.
Yeah. Her mother, her biological mother, was none too pleased. She thought Professor Abbott was just trying to get close to her to get her DNA. And, she didn't like it. She was just like, I'm not a fan of this. Rachel and Derek Abbott are still married and they have 3 children together.
Oh.
So with all of this information, what do you think?
I think that he was the father of her baby. He completed suicide because he lost her in love.
That's a very good theory. That's what everyone thinks.
Yeah. But you're here to prove me wrong.
So they wanted to exhume the body. The Adelaide agreed to exhume the body, like all of this shit, like for years and years and years, right? On July 26th, 2022.
Just the other day.
Mere weeks ago.
Oh my God.
Professor Abbott announced that he and genealogist Colleen Fitzpatrick had determined that the man's name was Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer and an instrument maker born November 16th, 1905 in Melbourne. He was the youngest of 6 children of Richard August Webb and Eliza Amelia Morris Grace. DNA identification strands found in the plaster casting of his, whatever.
Face.
Yeah, they took from there. They did DNA and they found sibling, cousins, whatever. And they tracked it down to the descendants, these 6 siblings. They thought maybe it could be one of the brothers, but this was the only one that didn't have a death certificate, where they didn't know what happened to him.
Back.
Yeah. They found descendants of 2 first cousins on Webb's side from both the mother and the father. So it's pretty conclusive that this is who the guy is.
Right.
Webb resided in Victoria and had a brother-in-law named Thomas Keene, who lived about a 20-minute drive from him, which would explain some of the clothes having that T. Keene name
because they
tag.
belonged to his brother.
Right. Or that he borrowed him from them, or he gave him to him, whatever. In 1951, Mr. Webb's Dorothy Jean Webb put a public notice in the newspaper in Melbourne publicizing that she had started divorce proceedings against her husband for desertion. So he died in 48. In 51, she filed for divorce.
So he was married.
He was married, yeah.
Oh, okay. And she didn't know that he had died.
She didn't know. No one knew what happened to him.
So she just thought that he left her.
Right.
Which he basically did.
He did, yeah.
Right.
At the time of his death, Mr. Webb would have been 35 and his wife would have been 21.
Damn.
Yeah. So Abbott's research indicates that Webb enjoyed betting horses, so the coded message could be horse names or
Really?
initials from horses. They don't know. They don't know yet. Webb was fond of poetry, and he had written some of his own explaining the copy of the book, but also that doesn't really explain why Jessica's name and number was why her number was in the back of it.
Did she rent, rooms in her house?
I don't think so. She was a young nurse, mother,
That's so weird.
None of Webb's still living relatives ever knew him in person.
Okay.
Nor do they have any photographs of him. So, they don't, nobody knows who nobody still alive knows who he was.
He was a secret agent.
Maybe, yeah. The police have not verified the results of this breakthrough, but they're cautiously optimistic that it's right. It probably is. They're pretty sure. They've known for months who it was. They only just announced it the other day.
Okay. So he was a secret agent, and the cyanide pill made his spleen big.
Yeah, maybe. But he didn't have cyanide in the system.
That we know.
Abbott says it's not the end of the story by any means. Finding his name is just the beginning of the story. Now we've got to find out about this man, his history, and what he was doing, and fill in the gaps. But one thing we do know is that Rachel is not the Somerton man's granddaughter. So that means he was not the father of Robin.
So the fucking weird teeth and ears.
Just a weird fucking coincidence.
Wow, okay.
But she is related to Thomas Jefferson. So there is that.
Are we all related to Thomas Jefferson?
So.
I think he was a man whore, honestly.
I mean, he was definitely a man whore.
Gross.
Yeah. And that's the story of the Somerton man as we know it. And details are going to start really coming out because they're putting the pieces together rapidly.
Let me just tell you that I'm very excited about this is it genial DNA?
Genealogical
DNA.
It's amazing.
I mean,
it's so cool.
We gotta continue to fund this because I feel like a lot of crimes are gonna be solved.
I mean, that's what's happening left and right. I think it's so cool.
And the thing is, we hear about it all the time.
Yeah.
We finally were able to solve this case that's been unsolved for 80 something years. Or whatever. It's fucking a beautiful thing. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
Down with privacy, right? Who cares?
Down with fucking privacy. Until it's my turn to kill somebody.
Yeah.
So, listen, that's it for us.
That's
it. That's all we have to give you. We'll see you next week. And in the meantime, subscribe so you don't miss out on any of these fabulous episodes. We have like 100 and fucking plus 100. It's almost 150, I think.
Yeah.
So you don't miss out. We have merch. We have Patreon. We have Buy Me a Coffee. All these ways that you can support this good content. Honestly, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think it's pretty good. Write a review and share it with somebody. Share this podcast with somebody. But reviews that you can write are along the lines of...
You can keep it simple. Like Never Scared wrote, true crime, great food. What more can you ask for?
I mean, what more can you fucking ask for?
We're giving you everything.
Mm-hmm. Then you got Kiki Bulovo.
I fucking love that.
Wrote, so much fun. I really enjoy listening to these ladies. Great stories. And
thank you, Kiki.
And Dana can read what Law Gak wrote.
Go ahead. Tell me what Law Gak wrote.
Law Gak. Great podcast. Truly enjoy listening to these hosts discuss true crime.
I'm sorry, hoes?
Hosts.
Oh, okay. All right. Hosts.
Discuss true crime and tried the food they've cooked on the show. Excellent podcast. I would recommend it to anyone.
Yeah. I thought
hose is appropriate.
I was gonna like buy into that hose propaganda.
Listen, write a review and call us hose, and I will live for that.
I'll cream myself, honestly.
Oh my God.
So yeah, do us a favor. Call us hoes out on iTunes or wherever wherever you're listening.
I love to be called a hoe, honestly.
We love when they speak the truth about you.
I love getting my ass smacked, and I love to be called a hoe. But
a little hair pulling, maybe.
Dana likes to be choked a little bit.
Okay, stop drinking.
But listen, you can connect with us on all of the social medias. We are on TikTok, Facebook, Tiger Beat. Wait, no.
Are you
Twitter, and Instagram.
Guess who's taking a nap before she goes home?
Those are the places that you can talk to us on. Check you out next week. And remember, do not get taken to that second location. Be good at hiding a body. Bye.
Cheers.
Are you okay?
Jesus Christ.
Fucking loud.
You're disgusting and I hate you both.